Why I don't take pictures with celebrities. Okay, so this is something that has evolved over the years because if you know me, you might know that I love like all the celebrity BS culture and all that stuff. And I have for probably years. Like I watched like Extra all the time, Inside Edition, all this trash stuff. Granted, I'm not as like with it as I used to be because life happens and I just have other priorities that matter. But celebrity culture is cool. Like, if I meet somebody who's famous, I am like the starstruck person. Anybody that has status, I get real weird. I definitely love like, if you know me, I love the status stuff, and that's just me being open and honest. So one thing that people like, the new way of people doing autographs right now is through taking like selfies with celebrities, because the handwritten autograph isn't worth what it used to be back in the day. It is, oh look, here's me with my celebrity. Let me post it for clout on the Instagrams and the Twitters and all the things. And granted, I've done that. When I met Chaz Bono, I took a selfie with him, and it was right when he came out, and it was very big, and I was like, I'm 1 degree from Cher. This is amazing. And it was very cool. And he also mentioned me in his speech the next day multiple times, which felt really, really cool. But anyway, besides the point. But I remember there was a night that really changed it all for me in terms of why I don't take pictures with celebrities. And I'm going to tell you the crazy list of people that I've met over the years. One night, my friend had taken me to the Magic Castle in LA, which is literally the country club of magicians of the world. Or it's one of a few. If you're a magician, this is debatable, but whatever. So you go there, and it's basically like the who's who of magic, and everyone's a magician or their friends who you have to be invited to get in. You can't just like walk in off the street. You have to know somebody. So it's very vetted. And so I remember going in and seeing this guy do a show in one of these little rooms, because it's kind of more intimate than like a big theater like you would in Vegas. And I see his show, and it was wonderful and it was amazing. I didn't realize then that I'd actually been a huge fan of a movie he did a long time ago that was a little bit more risque than probably what he wants to be known for, but that's a whole other story. But I ended up seeing his show, and at the end of the show, and I'm going to tell you this rule before I tell you what happened at the show. There's a rule at the Magic Castle that you can't use your phone or take pictures. Everything is confidential. And if you are going to get on the phone, you have to like go away and be away from people, because it very much feels like you're back in time, and there's this old timey energy. There's even people called, I think they're called knights, that are there to like make sure you follow the rules. It's like very cool, the energy they set up. I hope it's still that way, because this was a long time ago. And so, okay, we're ending the show, and a bunch of people are going to talk to this magician afterwards and be like, oh my God, we love you. Like, this is like the typical stuff that happens after a show if you're able to talk to the performer. And so these two ladies were there, and, they are so used to this, like, photography culture, and, like, they did this whole song and dance where they pretended to take a selfie with this magician. And if you want to know who it is, I'll tell you. And so what they did is they went up to the guy and like, oh my gosh. And then they took their hands, not even a real phone because they couldn't do it. And they literally pretended to take a selfie. And he participated in this experience of pretending to take a selfie with people. Now, fine, whatever. It was cute. They sort of followed the rules. But the reality is, there was something that happens in that moment when you ask a celebrity to take a picture, is that it changes the dynamic from being a real person talking to another real person to you being an object if you're that celebrity celebrated person. There's another conference I go to that also has very strict rules about stuff, because people do have different statuses outside of it, and you want people to feel like themselves. And I remember that day thinking, you know what? I don't need to take pictures with celebrities. And maybe one day I will have enough relationship with a celebrity or somebody that will be very cool because I've treated them with respect, that maybe, who knows, we can collaborate, we can make friends, we can do something together. And I don't care if anything happens or not, but people are people. And I feel like that's the reality, right? Like when I met Damon Johns, who's on Shark Tank, actually, I've met him virtually a few times. I've actually had like maybe 3 interactions with him personally, very minimal. But every time I mention all of them and hope that like in 10 years we can be buddies, I don't know. Everybody was trying to take selfies with him, and I was like, you know what? I'm just going to shake his hand because I feel like that's more meaningful. Or when I met Joan Rivers, I slipped her a note and I wanted to be kind to her. This was 2 months before she died. And I got to like see her. I got to ask her a question in front of hundreds of people in a live audience. And she was the sweetest lady. And I was like, I don't want a picture with her, but maybe I secretly behind the scenes took a photo with her in the background. I don't know if I did or not, but I don't want to change that dynamic. Granted, she's not with us anymore, but I love that I get to have that moment with her that I feel like the minute you take out a camera, you miss out on. So I've met a lot of really cool people. I remember seeing Tori Spelling once, and San Francisco. And I don't know if I really met her, but she was like right behind me and like we could see each other. And it was cool because she was trying to do this whole thing where she was still famous, but like she wasn't really that famous, but she was like trying to hype herself up. And it was a weird stage in her career. I got to hug also another dead one, Gilbert Godfrey. I like bumped into him on the street after he did like a show taping in Chicago. And as somebody who loves Jay Leno, like seeing him like on Jay Leno all the time, like and hearing that voice, he's a dear. And I got to give him a hug and I said, thank you for doing all that you do in comedy. I never asked for a photo. And granted, I could be lying about all these stories, but why would I? I like these moments because these moments are more valuable than the picture I take themselves. I probably have a bajillion photos with Penn and Teller because they love to meet their audiences. And also too, if you're a celebrity watching this, I'm going to tell you this. I took a selfie with, what's her face? What's her name? Amy Schumer. I loved Amy Schumer so hard when she wasn't famous because she was on Last Comic Standing, and I for years was trying to get her to see live. Finally got to see her live right as the cusp of her starting to get kind of big after years and her canceling shows. And so I took a photo with her, and this is what the point I have to make for celebrities is that she by the way, only like 10 people wanted to stay after to meet her because she wasn't famous hugely famous that well. Her show tanked. It was like meh. Eric Andre was there before her. He destroyed. It was so good. It was so good. Now I'm a huge fan of him after that night. But like she was really rude. She didn't want to be there. And granted, I get it. You're a celebrity. You work hard. You're tired. You want to go home and sleep. But like, I will never forget that moment where she treated me that way. And I even made a TikTok about it. So, so like, if you are a person like, this is like the social media connection here. Maybe is that when you can care about people in the moment, it is really hard. It takes a lot of time. But like, people remember that. Like the way that some of these celebrities treated me as a nobody is something that I remember. That guy with the fake selfie, he ended up coming after me. Now he's friends with my friend, but like, he still came up after me. Said, "Hi, here's who I am, and who are you?" And I was like, "Who am I?" I was like, early 20s. I knew nothing at the time. And I was like, "You think I'm cool? Like, you want to meet me?" And like, I'll never forget how kind that was. And I'm sure many of us have stories of cool celebrities we've met and bad celebrities we've met. I heard a horrible story from my cousin about an interaction we had with Tyra Banks. And I was like, oh my gosh, it totally changed how I looked at Tyra Banks, despite my friend being on the Tyra Banks show. That was also a very weird experience. But I never got to see her in person, though. That was the reality. She was like the studio over, but I never actually got to see her, which is so heartbreaking. But what are you going to do? But how you treat people makes a huge difference. And I love some of the people who, they don't need to care about me, but they're nice to me, and it means the world. So, granted, it takes a lot of time and energy, but I try my best to do that in my life. And I'm no celebrity; I'm just a nice person. So, those are some of the celebrities I've met, and why I don't take selfies with them anymore. At least I usually don't. And with that, this is my daily nugget of wisdom. It is sort of social media related, but it's just for fun. See you on the interwebs. Bye.